Alright, so hello! So today I'm sitting down with Vengeur, an Italian Quake Champions player who's only 19 years old. 3 times Quake Open League finalist, and he's just won the last season against Raisy. So how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, how are you?
I'm doing fine as well. Alright, so my first question will be about your name. Like, how do you pronounce it, and where does it come from?
Okay, well, pronunciation is in 2 ways, I will say. You can say Vengeur or Vengeur. It's kind of the same. And it's a funny story, but there is nothing behind it. I just was typing random letters, and there is Vengeur, like randomly. And then, like, after some years, some guy comes to me and tell, man, this name is French. And I was like, what? How is it French? I just was typing random words, like, in the keyboard. That's it, basically. So, it's random.
Pretty cool. Okay, so tell me about your history with gaming. What was the first games that you've played? Where, like, was it friends that introduced you to video games with your family? Which games was it?
Okay, so I started in 2012, I would say. And I just downloaded a game on Steam called Serious Sam, which was an FPS arena.
It's crazy.
And like after a few months of practice, I was already competing like with top 3, I will say, of the game. Even if the player base was really small. Anyway, I was really good at it. And then some friends come to me and there is Quake Live, go play it. It's a really cool game. And I just started to play Quake Live, and then I am Quake Champions. So I play from 2013 Quake. It's already 5 years.
Okay. So basically playing Serious Sam, to be honest, I didn't even know that this game had the multiplayer. What was it like? Was it like very arena FPS classic gameplay, or was it like more alongside?
Well, there was third person too, so it was kind of it was an FPS arena. You have like the map, you have you to control items, you need to take weapons. It's like same to Quake, but with the difference there are third person, and some weapons were really OP, like one-shotting. There was more spawn kills, like something like that. But it was the same, basically.
Alright, so now tell me, so you've played some Quake Live. So going from Quake Live to Quake Champions, how was it? Was the transition rather easy for you, or did you have to get used to like the new timing on the items, the different characters, different hitboxes, movement, the weapon changes? How was that for you?
Well, for me it was kind of easy, because it was easy for me to deal with abilities. It was working for the first time. Like, I was only focusing on abilities, what they do, how to counter them. But like for timing, for me was really easy, kind of, because on Quake Live there was 25, 45, 25. It was kind of fucked up sometimes to time everything perfectly. Instead, on Quake Champions, it's 30, so you just know in 30 seconds it will spawn, and that's it. So even if your enemy delays it, you have like an idea of when it will spawn anyway. So it was easy. And for weapons, no problem at all, actually. And I feel it easier to hit in this game, so for me it's okay.
Alright. Awesome. So, now there's a question I need to ask you. So, going back to Quake Live, I mean, it's a bit of the elephant in the room in a way, but you were banned in Quake Live. And I feel like a lot of people don't really know why it was. A lot of people say that you've cheated. So I was wondering, like, do you think you could give us like your side of the story and basically tell us what happened with this?
I won't go into details, basically, but when I was younger, I was a really stupid guy, and I made a lot of mistakes. Was shit-talking people all the time. I was being toxic, which is something I really regret, because I'm a really different guy now. I was just doing a lot of mistakes. I was playing with smarts, doing bullshit, like in servers, offending people, all this kind of stuff. So basically, I got banned because of that, like, few words. And I actually remember to be unbanned before I left Quake for the school. So never cheated and never did anything. Like, that's yeah.
Oh, I see. So now, with Quake Champions, in Quake Live you mostly play duel, but in Quake Champions you also play 2v2. So how was that going from playing alone, just playing duel, to playing in team mode? Which changes did you have to make in your playstyle for this?
I will be really honest, it was really hard for me. Like the first few weeks when I was practicing 2v2, I really couldn't find myself in the map. I couldn't find anything. I was really confused by what was going on around me. But now I want to thank you, my ex-teammate, Ins, the Portuguese guy. He was really helping me a lot with, you need to do this, there is some trick, you need to go there, I need to take a position there. So for me, it was really difficult in the beginning, because for me, I always played duel, even in Quake Live. Everything was only duel. I was always against one guy. So when I see different guys and I needed to like do callouts for my teammate, all this kind of stuff, my brain was like, okay, stay calm, Vengeur, and fucking reason over it, you know? But now I'm fine. I feel like I am a really good player even in team mode now. Even thanks, I will say, Major to Ins for what he did for me back in the months.
Okay. So talking about your teammates, so you've played with Ins at DreamHack Tours. At QuakeCon, you've played with Base. And who will you be playing with at DreamHack Winter? Because I actually don't know.
Busdriver.
Busdriver. Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. So tell me, like, could you basically just compare playing with all those teammates? Like, how did you have to adapt playing with Ins, then playing with Base? I mean, like, for example, I think that with Base, since he's Russian, communication must have been a bit difficult. So just, yeah, tell me about all this.
Well, with Ins, as I said before, was hard, because I was starting only to play 2v2 from, like, really small time. And the DreamHack Tours was not really the best experience for me, because we basically got wrecked. With Base, it was really hard, because when I went to QuakeCon, I realized that the major thing in 2v2 is comms, and communication is so important. And at this level, you can't fuck it up, you know? And I was really trying my best, even to communicate, because, you know, in LAN, it's always different, because there is all this noise like around you. So even talking with a guy who doesn't speak English was really hard. And we tried our best anyway. We lost to Busdriver on Leeds with 1 frag in one map and like 5 frags in the other one anyway. And was kind of hard, but we'll see DreamHack Winter. Hopefully will be the best LAN for me in 2v2.
So I'm really curious about you playing with Base. I mean, it just sounds crazy, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
it is.
It's funny, like, yeah, I think that's how I reacted when I first saw this on Twitter. Just like Vengeur and Base playing together, like it sounds really interesting. Like both players with really good aim, both rather aggressive players, and yeah, just playing together. I mean, for example, for callouts, like how did you work callouts out with Base?
I basically was screenshotting every part of the map, and I was writing in Paint. Oh, this is this, and I was just sending to him. Right. Basically, that's it. We also, of course, we were jumping in other maps, like this is this place, but I was also doing the job of Quake, like painting all this, the callouts, making screenshot of what to do, watching VODs. Even with him, he was watching same VOD, but of course we were not talking because it was impossible to analyze them. But we were anyway watching VODs together, I will say. So.
All right.
That's hard, but...
So now, what about Busdriver? How did you guys team up, also?
Okay, simply, we just asked each other. We were trying different teammates for DreamHack, and we just... let's play something together, 1 set, 2 sets. And we saw we are really good together, and we just started to play. And that's it, because he doesn't have a teammate, I don't have a teammate, so it was the easier thing to do.
All right. So you've been practicing, I imagine, and so how has it been with him? Like, because I've talked with him a bit, like on Twitter, but like just not that much. And like, what type of guy is he? Like, I know he likes meme, but apart from that, like, what can you tell him about Busdriver?
He's actually a really good guy. Like, I meet him in QuakeCon. He's a really good person, and I will say I like him a lot, especially in Quake, because he's always there to support you in every fight. Because he knows I am a really forward player, I always aggro, always go in for the fights, even when I shouldn't. But he's always like behind me to support, and like even with when we talk with voice, he's never like putting himself down or me down. He's always cheering me up. Like he's really never giving up. Basically, even when we are like 10 frags behind, in all the pracs we did a lot of comebacks because of it. Because never give up. Go to this item, let's take this after. It's really good teammate. It's really a top player.
All right. So now, going back to DreamHack Tours, this first experience of yours, what would you say was the reason that you guys had, well, those disappointing results? Do you think it was the pressure, the lack of experience? Do you think it's just something wasn't really working out with your team? Was it a lack of practice? How would you basically define this experience at DreamHack Tours?
Well, I wouldn't say pressure, because I was really calm. But I don't know what's happened, because I remember the first match, we won pretty easily, like 50-20. Then we lost to Xron and Toxic, and something, I don't know, fucked up my mind. And I really went like full plus back style, and we never practiced it. I was always going aggro with ins. So I want to take all the blame. If we lose, it's basically all my fault, because we used to play one style, and in LAN I did the opposite, basically. And he didn't expect it. So I wouldn't say pressure, it was just me like feeling the first time LAN. It's not always easy, because everything is different. Table is different, computers are different. So I was like trying to adapt so fast, because we didn't have a lot of warm-up. But I think it's an excuse. I just played bad, and that's it, need to be honest.
So now, compared to QuakeCon, did you mentally prepare for QuakeCon? Did you basically just work on this, on your psychology, on your approach to gaming? Did you basically adapt from your experience to tours to QuakeCon?
Yeah, because I start to realize, like, even if I lost DreamHack Tours, it was maybe the biggest experience ever for me to prepare for next events. So I was going to QuakeCon, and I was aware of what was going to happen, what I need to do, what I need to avoid. So for me, DreamHack Tours, even if I lost, it's like maybe the biggest LAN ever for me, because it prepared me mentally for any other LAN after it. So it was like a training for the future events. So in QuakeCon I was really relaxed. I didn't care about anything. I was just playing my style. Yeah, and that's it. Then we had other problems like comms and all this kind of stuff, but I was playing really good, I remember, in QuakeCon.
Okay. So now, next LAN was PGL. So what can you tell me about this LAN? What was your expectations approaching this event? How did it turn out for you? Were you satisfied with your performance? What do you think? Like, what did you learn also from this event?
Okay, well, PGL was probably the best I attended. They were really, really prepared. It was a really good LAN, and it was also the most stacked LAN in duel ever for Quake, I think. First day, I played only one match, basically, so all other was only warm-up. I played against Watts, the American guy, and I won him, and I qualified to day 2. And I got Rapha, Deng, and an agent in my group. So already mentally, it was like, okay, I never played this guy. It's gonna be hard, I think. And I lost to agent 2-3, and my mind was already fucked, because I need to win the Eng in order to play against agent or Rapha to get through the groups. So basically, I was playing really good against the Eng, but something didn't work. I was losing like every round with one champion left. Like when I had the most stock, it telefragged me, and that just got into my mind, and I couldn't do anything about it.
All right.
It was a good experience anyway. Of course, it was not what I expected. I expected to do at least top 8, and I did top 9 or top 13. I don't remember now the rank. Was close, but.
So basically, what do you think this? Because I think it was your first dual LAN tournament, right? BGL. So what did you learn from it, basically? What do you think is different from what you learned at a 2v2 LAN and at a dual LAN?
Well, of course it's different because of a different game mode. In 1v1, you need to basically be always focused on every match. Even the match you would expect to win easy, you need to be focused, because in LAN everyone is always doing better and hitting more because of the different device, different ping. So you need always to play the best. Even if you're playing with a guy that maybe online you just wreck him, in LAN it's always different. And compared to 2v2, I will say it's all about being perfect at timing. In duel, you need to be always there for the items. Never forget about items, because they will give you like the difference in the fight, basically. And also one of my main mistakes in PGL, I wasn't play DK at all. And I have to realize DK was really good to play, and I didn't practice him a lot. So I was like, should I play it even if I'm not good with it? Or should I just play normal characters? And that's it, basically.
So you not playing DK Death Knight, was it because you just, I don't know, like, felt more comfortable with other characters? Or was it like, I don't know, like a conscious choice, like, he's a brain dead character, F2, press F2 kill, I don't want to play that?
No. I don't agree with all this kind of stuff, like press F to kill, all this bullshit. I will say bullshit, because if you have a character, you use it, no matter what. I don't care if it's OP, I don't care anything. If you can win with it, why wouldn't you use it if the other guys are using it? I mean, it's same for Anarchy in the old patches, or Clutch. If it's good to use it, and you can win tournaments and money, why wouldn't you use it? I mean, it's just... In every game it's like that. In every game there are OP characters sometimes. It's normal. If you have characters in one game, champions, there will be always something little bit more OP than others.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's normal.
So yeah, talking about this idea of the characters balance, how was it for you going back to Quake Live, where basically it's just classic Quake, everyone is in a way the same character, two Quake champions with players with different movements, different stacks, different hitboxes. This change, how, like, did you have some favorite champions early on? Also, what was your initial reaction to seeing the basically heroes being added to Quake?
So I instantly realized that abilities are really important, and sometimes even instead of going to the major items, it's even better to pick up shards for having ability in the next fight. So it's just clicking in my mind. You just need to be really good at aiming in this game. If you have good aim, you can win a lot of fights, even if you shouldn't, basically, if you hit enough. And compared to Quake Live, where everything is always the same, you need to go to heavy this time, then mega, then heavy. You do this fight, then heavy. With abilities, it's like more chaotic, I would say. It's different, because with abilities you can save yourself from situation, like with Ranger Orb, you can teleport away if you are in difficult. With Clutch Shield, you can back away or attack differently. But in Quake Live was more standard situation. It was always the same, I will say. Instead, in Quake Champions, different. It's even funnier, I will say.
Okay. Do you feel like abilities add a random element, or do you feel like at a high level it's always... Like, is it always on your mind when you're playing against Ranger that he could telefrag you? Do you, like, are you always conscious? For example, also, here's another question I'm interested in. Do you time your enemy's ability?
Sometimes, yes. Especially against Visor, I used to time a lot. When I think he's using Piercing Sight, if I am Visor too, and we see each other through the wall, I know he's using it, of course.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see, okay, you see it? Now I go to this time chart, it doesn't have it, so I should have it before him, for sure. And you said about Ranger Orb, of course, because if I know Ranger has orbs ready, I never take a fight too close to him, because I know I can get fragged by him. So what I try to do when he has the orb, it's just trying to rail, take fights not really close, from long range, LG, rail, never rockets, basically, sometimes. But when I see he use it, I just go in. If I have ability ready, I just go in for him.
Okay. So, another question. Regarding the updates, because it's been delayed, so we still don't have the full detailed updated patch notes, so what will happen. But basically we got a pretty good idea of what we'll be getting with the PTS. So yeah, the huge ability nerfs. How do you feel about it? How do you feel regarding this direction this game is taking, of abilities being more supportive than being like full-on frag abilities? Well, what are your thoughts on this change?
I think this patch, if it's kind of the same as PTS, will be the best for Quake, because there are a lot of good changes with abilities. They are more important, less important into the game. You need to be more smart to use them. It's not like going in and just frag. You need to actually time them perfectly, even with BJ now. And with all these balance changes in champions, now it's all like everything is more close. Every character is more viable. Like in the next patch, we will have a lot of characters for duel. It's not like always BJ, always Galena, always Ranger. It's different now. I just hope they gonna improve also the performance for players like who can't have good FPS, because it's always been a trouble for Quake champions. And we will see in DreamHack Winter, because it will be the most important event, I will say, this year. And with this change before it will be really important to see who is adapting actually faster than the other guy.
So which champions do you see being meta for DreamHack Winter now? Like both for duel and for 2v2?
I will say Visor for sure. Maybe some Slash, Galena, Athena. Ranger, even without Orb, is really good.
Okay.
Always because of rocket jump and aggressive plays. Clutch, yeah, for sure. Anarchy in some maps. Doom in some maps too. I don't know about BJ. I actually have no idea, because I think he's the more nerfed character, BJ. Then we have Asen, the new champion, which is really good for me, because of the turret. You can avoid enemy to take items if you place over them.
Yeah.
Avoid to take quad, all this kind of stuff, so it's really useful. So I will say at least 7, 8 or 9 champions in the meta.
So which champions do you think, you mentioned BJ being nerfed a lot, which other champions do you think, because I think you didn't name Nyx, for example.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like she will still be very valuable, because like sure she can't really be aggressive anymore with it, because the telefrag was removed, it's only like 75 or 100 damage now, and also there's this delay after she pops out, so she's less of an aggressive character now, but she can still use it for a super, like, on a very defensive aspect. She's still basically invisible and invincible while she uses it, so I think she'll still be viable. What do you think of that?
I think it depends on the player and in the way you use Nyx. If you're a really defensive player, I will say like base. Maybe Nyx can be viable, because he always uses Ghost Walk to escape. But if you are a player like Raisy, which sometimes just goes in with Nyx, like in the old patch, he was always going for forward with a Ghost Walk, maybe it will not be viable for him anymore, I will say. And it doesn't really matter about the telefrag, because it was really rare when it happened. It's not like Ranger Orb, which is more like standard. But with Nyx, the problem is she's really squishy. So now if you don't have this advantage when you Ghost Walk and you always can shoot after one millisecond, now with this delay you are more fucked, because if you Ghost Walk and your enemies have an idea of where are you going, you can't even shoot him back. So if he's pushing you with LG, you're gonna finish on the other part of the world with the knockback now. So it's gonna be hard for her to play. You need to play actually her perfectly. That's it.
Right. So now talking about the weapons, they've also did some pretty major changes. So the rocket launcher speed was reduced from 1,100 to the Quake Live 1,000 units per second, regarding the speed of the rockets. I think they did some changes to the splash damage. They basically unified it so that I feel like the Tri-Bolt and the rocket have the same splash damage. Now it's a minimum of 10 damage, 3 meters like splash radius. Have you felt some differences regarding the rockets from PTS to the live build we currently have?
Yeah, rockets are less OP, I will say now. You need to be aiming actually good. You not need to spam anymore, like just press button and rockets will fly around you like fucking maximum speed. Now you actually need to be good with rockets in order to hit like good. And I think it's good because it's less spam and it's more fun for viewers. Do not watch everyone going bouncing around. That's it. Like I remember in free for all, if you play now free for all, you just see rockets flying around you and you can't even dodge them because they are too fast. Now it's more skilled, I will say. And also with this LG change, it will be, I think now it's the perfect balance changes, basically. With Tripod not being off speed as before, now we need to hit perfectly Tripod, otherwise it will not connect in the PTS. It's more skilled based, it's not more spammy, like random shooting, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Is there any other weapon changes that you would like to see in the game?
I saw the shotgun kinda nerfed. I don't know why, but I don't hit same as before with shotgun, so I don't know. I would like to have machine gun maybe more nerfed,
The basic starting machine gun?
Both of them, the heavy and the normal one, because I think they are way too good for being normal weapons, because I always rate LG, Rocket, and Rail to be the best weapons, you know? So having such a gun, like machine gun, which is doing 10, so fast, it's really kind of sometimes destroying the game. Because of sometimes with long range, you don't even need to pick up any weapons, you just go with the machine gun doing a lot of damage to your enemy. Especially in maps like CK, if you stand on mid and the other guy is on LG, he's basically lost. Because if he doesn't have a machine gun and you have it, you're gonna deal 200 damage. So maybe a little bit of nerf to machine gun, I would say. And that's it. And maybe nail gun, but nail gun is actually hard sometimes to hit, so I don't know about it. But I think 20 is too much. Maybe 15 or 16, I don't know.
Okay.
A little bit less damage.
Well, I don't know. I see what you mean by the machine gun. But regarding the nail gun, I feel like it's not that strong, honestly. I mean, I remember there was a time right after they've made the hitboxes bigger, where basically the most valuable weapon was the nail gun, and everyone was using the starting nail gun. That was a bit crazy because it was so easy to hit, and with the knockback, like they just get knocked into the other nails, so you could just combo them, and it was a bit crazy. Whereas I feel like now that they've I think what they've done is change the knockback of the nail gun. Now it's like pretty skillful actually, and it's really, I feel like it is in a good state where it's this spam weapon, which it was in Quake Live, where basically you just like hold corners with it and shoot it to make sure that the enemy doesn't pass. And also you've probably seen this, like it's Rapha who likes to do it, but it's on CK, you know, like in front, like, at the bottom, in front of the rocket, and she's gonna shoot like 5 nails that will track perfectly, and then enemy will just like walk into all 5 nails and like get 100 damage. And I feel like this is basically just how the nail gun should be. Well, yeah, I mean,
it should be actually a way to deny opponents some areas. It should not be the main weapon to fight, because if you do the difference between LAN and online, in LAN it's always stronger.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a problem sometimes, because you just see yourself with full stack, and your enemy is too close to you with nail gun, and you are destroyed in half a second. That's what I mean. But for sure, yeah, online it's much more different. I will say game it's a lot of difference between online and LAN, because of ping. Like in LAN, everything it's hitting so much. You do a lot of damage with every weapon. So nail gun being that good, I will say in small fights, like in close fights, I don't know, but I wouldn't say it's a big of a problem now with these hitboxes, but for sure it was before. So now I think it's good balanced. I just would like to see with 15 damage or 16 or 17, I don't know, something like that. Just a little bit small nerf, not something important.
It's funny what you were mentioning about nail gun being much more powerful than LAN. It reminded me during PGL. I think it was the first match of Cooler versus Rapha. So like it was back in in the brackets, I think it was, and it was on Awoken. And I don't know if you've seen this clip. It was on Reddit, and you had Cooler who was at heavy armor, so on Awoken, and Rapha was like at the top of the bouncer, like just in front of it, and Cooler had the nail gun. And he was shooting Rapha on top of it, and he just like melted Rapha like so quickly. I was basically just like LG damage. How fast Rapha died, and like you could see the faces of the player. Like Rapha was like, he was just so surprised to basically get melted by the nail gun so fast. And yeah, I mean I've never been able to experience it, but like how would you describe the fact that weapons are more powerful? Like they feel better on LAN. Like is it the projectile that feels faster? Or I don't know, like, do you think it's more accurate? How would you basically compare LAN to live?
I think it's actually even on the servers, because LAN servers are much more smooth, I would say. And with 0 ping, of course, you're gonna eat a lot more, because you don't have this delay. You can feel the weapon instantly shooting. And I wouldn't say it's faster, but it's just connecting more. I don't know how to explain it. It's just instead of connecting 2 times, it's connecting 3. Like if shooting 5 times online, maybe it connects 3, but online it's 4 or 5, like always, if you hit perfectly. Maybe online it's not always like that, even with LG. online with LG, maybe you hit 40 in a fight where you should hit 50 on LAN. I think it's all based on ping and the different servers. Because LAN servers, of course, are better than normal servers because there is no delay or anything. It's just perfect. So that's the main difference.
What it could be, I mean, I'm just like pulling out hypothesis here, but maybe the reason why it feels better on LAN is that the characters' representations or characters' positions is better represented. Like it's more up to date in a way, so you can basically more easily adapt to the player's movement, knowing that it's basically in real time. You don't have like this 15 milliseconds delay in your player movement. But that is something I'd be interested like in knowing more details of. Like if I get to talk to someone who knows a bit about this. But also, like, which weapons do you think change the most, or in which weapons change the least from live to LAN?
The least, I will say, maybe shotgun or machine gun.
So hit scan basically.
See a lot of, I don't see a lot of differences. But with railgun and LG, I just hit so much more. Like I feel like I'm a different player sometimes. I know my LG is good, my rail is good. Okay, yeah, online it's good weapon. I use them good. I have good accuracy. But online is just boosting up to the stars basically. I remember in Luca, I don't know if you saw the clip against Rapha. I was hitting every rail possible. I had like 80% rail in a Woken.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I never hit anything like that online. And it was like actually first time I was playing on stage, because I was also nervous, but I was hitting everything. It was perfectly. I don't know why. Even against Xron, when I lost to him first time in a stage, then I played him off stage, I was hitting something like 60% LG.
Oh.
So for me, it was like a big difference.
So is this something that you that you take into consideration? Like basically, do you change the way you play on LAN compared to live, basically around the fact that you're playing with 0 millisecond ping?
Yes and no. I will say I am actually the same player, but sometimes I made some slight different decisions. Sometimes I just play more plusback and wait for my enemy to come to you to melt him with LG, basically. So I was like playing more about the waiting and not risking to going to items a lot of times. Especially against Rapha, you can see I was really playing in mid of the map. I was never exposing myself too much. And when I had the fight, even with less sack, I was hitting more than him, and I was winning the fight. So I wouldn't say I am a different player, but for sure, knowing that I will hit more, it's helping me mentally to win fights.
Okay. So this match against Rapha at the Italian Open, could you tell me more about it, basically? Because it was a really big, a real big performance. Like you managed to take a map off of him, Awoken, like very convincingly, which is actually like the casters talked about it. Awoken is Rapha's favorite map, and you managed to like get a victory, like rather crushing victory against him on this map. Just as you said, like basically running around, hitting all your rails. It was like, crazy performance. What would you say helped you like get this performance? Because I mean, it must have been a bit stressful. Was it the first time you were playing against Rapha?
Yes.
So I mean, like Rapha is he had just won PGL before, like pretty much the greatest Quake player of all time. Weren't you like a bit stressed going into this match?
I wouldn't say stress, but of course there is some respect towards such player that he just won a LAN 20 days ago, and you need to play against him on stage. It's kind of hard to deal with it. But I don't know, there was something going on my mind. I was so confident in myself. After winning RP and Xron, I just got a massive boost in my performance. I don't know why. But I have to be honest with you, I didn't expect to win Awoken at all. I was expecting myself to win Corrupted, which is my best map. But now after Italy, Awoken is my best map, because I won Rapha, of course. So I didn't expect actually to win Awoken in that way. I wouldn't say easy, of course, but convincingly, I was really performing better than him, I would say, if I can say it, in that map. But I expected myself to do more better in Corrupted instead of Awoken. So I don't know how to describe it. It's all about hitting more shots than him in Awoken. I was playing better on that way. I was hitting in more in the fights. And I was playing smart in the way he was picking up items. I was always doing so much damage after he took it. Like after he took heavy 2 rails, after he took mega 1 rail, more shaft, that kind of stuff. I don't know how to describe it. It was just amazing feeling, but like I was going to the match and he already had a map 1 for default, so it was always clicking in my mind, kinda, that I was going to basically need to win 3 maps over Rapha in order to win. So it was really in my mind, and I was trying to deal with it. I was like, okay, you need to win anyway, so try to play your best, and whatever goes, it's like, it's experience anyway.
Mm-hmm. So in the end, you're in front, unfortunately, I mean, fortunately for him, but unfortunately for you, Rapha won. Now, going into DreamHack Winter, what have you been working on, basically, to try to do even better than you did at the Italian Open? Like, what would you say your weaknesses at this tournament were?
I would say sometimes being stupid in making some decision. I was too much playing forward when I shouldn't, and that's what I've been working for so much in duel. I'm trying to be smarter and timing perfectly at the millisecond, which I never did. I was timing, yeah, of course, but sometimes there was some blackouts in my mind because I couldn't focus too much, because maybe, I don't know, pressure or nerves, I don't know what was going on. So I've been watching a lot of VODs of him playing too, the way he plays, the way he's so smart into the game, the way he position himself. So I will say I'm working most on positioning and timing at the moment in order to like making myself a better player. Because I already know I'm gonna hit a lot because I have a good aim. So what I've been working, it's like the mental aspect of the duel.
Okay. And so what precisely in the mental aspect would you say it's things like keeping track of your enemy stack, keeping track of your enemy's position, which weapon he has, like what exactly regarding the mental things are you trying to improve?
As you said, the stack, all this kind of stuff, or like even the time charts now, I'm trying to time them better in order to prevent my enemy to have abilities back before me. I will say mostly timing, because it always have been my worst thing in duel. I never timed perfectly, and that sometimes I was just standing on items 10 seconds and they didn't spawn, and then my enemy goes to me and I get wrecked because he knows the timing. I don't know it, so he has more stack. And now I'm trying to listen more around the map when he takes item, and I position myself on the next item in order to do more damage on him. So I will say it's a lot about being aware of where your enemy is, and being aware of how much difference of stack there is between you and him.
Okay. Now, going back to another subject, like one of the reason you're famous is, yeah, like because you're Italian, because you got some great results, but also because you're young. Like I mean, like you're basically the youngest like high level player out there. You're just 19 years old. I mean, like Zoot is always talking about it. Like at every tournament, he's always like, yeah, Vengeur is just like the 19-year-old legend and everything. So like, how is it basically just being the youngest in the community?
It's cool, I will say. It's pretty cool, and I have of course advantages even in gameplay sometimes because of reaction. Because I am youngest, it means actually I am faster sometimes than my enemy. But I will say there are some difficulties too, because I don't have much experience, and sometimes in tournaments especially, it's fucking me up. Like in the decision making, sometimes I'm really bad, because sometimes my awareness is maybe not that good compared to my enemy. I have too much respect for my enemy, all this kind of stuff. So I will say it's cool, because you are the youngest one, you are the new face to Quake, you are competing against all the legends, so it's really cool. Your reaction times are good, your aim is good, you are explosive, you are fast into the gameplay. But from other side, you have this experience factor, you don't have much LAN on your shoulders, especially compared to the other players. But I'm trying to build myself over it to get more experience in order to play better in the future.
All right. So one thing you've said about the reaction time, saying that, yeah, since you're younger, you're like 19 years old compared to players in their 30s, like Toxic and Cooler, who would have like a longer reaction time. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because like it's true. I think that in a way, like they've proven scientifically that like past 25 years old, your reaction time becomes longer. But I mean, like, like it's Toxic. I mean, I think he's 34. Is that it? Like the guy's been competing for so long, but like he hits like amazing like those flick shots, like just reacting in a millisecond, inhuman reactions as they say in CS:GO. Like he's still hitting all this. So just how do you feel about this?
I wouldn't say Toxic is human. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't know. It actually depends on how much you practice the game too. When you are like older, maybe it recurs you more than a younger player. In order to be at that level, like maybe for me it takes less to warm up and all this kind of stuff. Maybe for an older player it's different, and he needs to play more than me. But I don't know to describe Tox. I don't know. It's just probably the best aim player ever existed on Quake. So I don't know. He's just not human, I will say.
Yeah, that's what most people say about him. So yeah, I see what you mean. Like you can't really age if you're a robot, so yeah, he doesn't have to struggle with this.
Yeah, you never grow up if you're a robot.
Yeah, it's just updates after updates. Yeah. Keep on improving.
New patches for Tox.
Exactly. Okay, so now regarding new players, because I had some people, you know, when I asked on Reddit, well, what they wanted me to talk to you about. Some people would like to know which tips you would give to someone trying to become competitive to this game. Like, what do you think someone, you know, just wanting to become a good dueler or a good 2v2 player, what do you think they need to work on?
Practice a lot, I will say for sure. You need to play the game a lot. You need to study every little aspect of the game, every difference there can be with your characters, what is stronger in this situation. And I will say, for dueler especially, you need to practice a lot the position. Because what I notice on lower ranks is when you take fights, maybe you hit a lot of good LG, but your position is so bad that you lose the fight no matter what. So I will say, for sure, timing and positioning is the best thing you should do when you practice duel. So you need to always be aware, trying to, of course, to be aware, because you never are sure 100% sometimes where your enemy is, and try always to position yourself better in order to deal damage. That's like the most basic thing to do in duel. If you can't take items, try at least to rail him after he takes it, so it doesn't affect in the next fight. It doesn't have that item, you know. So I will say that's the best thing you should practice. It's not all about aim. Of course, aim is important, but in duel it's different. In 2v2 maybe it's more aim heavy, because if you have a better aim in the long distance, you know you're gonna win some fights. But in duel it's always only 3 champions, so if you like fuck up one fight, it's over and you lost 1 champion, and you only have 2 to recover from the other guy 3 opponents, 3 characters, you know. So you need to be smarter than your opponent.
So what do you think makes good positioning? Like, for example, I think the best player on this aspect is Rapha. Like, so it's like amazing positioning, always putting himself in the best positions to attack his enemies, to not be hit. How do you think a player develops this capacity of positioning himself better than his opponent?
By playing a lot.
Okay.
I will say that's the only secret. Playing a lot and watching a lot of VODs. Because when I played against Xron, I was watching so many VODs of him before the tournament. So already was like preferring some spots sometimes, because I already know in my mind he was being there. So I will say it's playing a lot and watching what's helping. Like if you watch Rapha playing, you are mastering what he does on the map, how is he positioning himself. So for me, watching what's is really helpful. Maybe it's not the same for every player, but for me it's like sometimes giving me so much boost in my performance to not imitate, but to understand what I should do on the map better than my enemy.
Right. Yeah, VOD review, I mean, it is something that I feel not that many players actually do. It was back at DreamHack Tours when I got to talk with Rapha and the Hang, and I asked him, what is it that you guys do that others team don't that allows you to win? And the first answer that Rapha gave me was VOD review. That they spend so much time watching other people's play, watching themselves play.
Yeah.
So also this aspect of the VOD review, so yeah, watching others play, of course, to learn about them, learn about their strengths and weaknesses, their favorite positions, favorite approaches to duels. What about you? Do you watch your own reviews? Do you watch your own matches?
I watch my own matches and I watch other player matches. It all depends on situation. If I know already what I'm gonna play in the groups in my tournament, I'm gonna only focus on watching them, and sometimes watching my VODs to see what mistakes I'm doing. But it's really important to watch VODs, because if you do one fight and you lose it, next time you know why did I lose that fight, and you try to prevent it from happening again. And I see a lot of players not caring about that aspect, but I feel like, especially in duel, it's the most important thing to do. For sure in 2v2 it's important. If you stream your pops and you see what your teammate is doing, it's also important. But in duel, it's so important to understand when you should go in a fight and when not, and why you are losing such fight when you should win. You know? Mm-hmm. It's really important for me. It's like one of the most basic things to do if you want to improve watching VODs.
Alright, alright. Now going back to improving and training. If you had 1 hour a day to train, what would you do during this hour? What would you work on?
Okay, I will say I will split in time, just little time. 5 minutes warm up, only like flicking around and warm upping your aim. Then I will say a plenty of 25-30 minutes playing your match, your duels, or whatever it is. And then I will say I will spend the rest on watching my VOD, maybe. Watching my VOD, I will say, yeah, I will split in warm up in a few minutes, playing, and then rewatching the VODs of what you just did. In just well, of course, it's little time, but I will sum it in that way.
So, another question on this topic: are you professional? Like, do you also study on this side, or are you just like full on only Quake champions?
I am studying at university too.
Okay.
So I'm trying to mix things. Of course, sometimes I can't do some exams because I have some tournaments. So for me, it's really hard to deal with both of things. But I'm trying to, you know, you never know what happens in life. So maybe having something else than playing maybe will help you in the future. But also from a personal point of view, for culture, all this kind of stuff, studying is important. And sometimes it's also clear your mind from only playing Quake all day, you know, because sometimes it's really hard to play game all day and not doing anything else. Sometimes it's counterproductive, because maybe people think, yeah, you just play 20 hours a day and you're gonna be a god in 6 months. It doesn't work like that, you know. So sometimes it's also good to study and clear your mind and take some break from the game.
How long do you play? Like, how much do you play per day?
Depends on what tournaments. If there is some tournament, or I don't know, I will say 5-6 hours. Okay. And when like I have like a tournament close, like DreamHack now, I'm trying to play more and like splitting my hours. I don't know, 5 hours of practicing 2v2 and some hours in duel, just to keep my mind fresh on what I have to do. It all depends on the tournament, basically.
So, considering that you play both in 2v2 and in duel, is there one of the game modes that you see that you basically record more time to? Do you find more important? Or is it like in your mind just like 50% duel, 50% 2v2?
I will say I am a better player in duel, so I already know I'm gonna spend maybe less time. Because in 2v2, especially with a new teammate, you need to do a lot of more stuffs around the map. You need to learn new callouts, you need to adapt to your teammate. So it's gonna be for sure taking more time than just playing duel, of course. So I would say I'm spending more time playing 2v2 at the moment, yeah, for sure.
Alright. But like, which game mode do you think a victory would affect you more? For example, imagine like two scenarios, two dream scenarios. First one, in duel. Basically, yeah. the grand final, DreamHack Winter, Rapha versus Vengeur, and you managed to win. Like, would that be a bigger victory? Or Busdriver and Vengeur in 2v2 versus Team Liquid, the DreamHack Winter final, once again 2v2, a win. Like, what would you say would be the biggest accomplishment? Like, winning against Rapha in duel, or winning against Team Liquid in 2v2?
Well, I don't think you can really describe it before it happens, but if I really think about it, I don't know, because in 2v2 you also have your teammate, and it's really emotional to win with someone you play together for such time, and it's really important also for like in duel. For me, I think it would be best thing ever, because I always play duel more, but I will say for sure 2v2 is also important because of how much time you practice with your teammate and how much you are giving yourself to win, the way you cooperate with your mate. But I don't know, cause I always dream of winning a LAN in duel, so I think it would be maybe the biggest dream ever for me, especially against Rapha. It's like maximum ever. So I will say duel, but not like by far.
So now regarding other team modes, I don't remember you playing much Sacrifice. Did you?
I didn't play a lot of Sacrifice, no. It's only because I played Quake Champions from October, and it was already going down a little bit. So I didn't have the computer to do it, the PC, because my PC was really terrible. So playing 4v4 was impossible to me. So I just skipped all the Sacrifice part of the game, basically. I just playing now sometimes, but just to have fun. That's it. I never played it at a high level, you know?
So now with CTF being right around the corner, a lot of people say that DreamHack Winter would be the last 2v2 tournament, and that very likely that you go to CTF being the main team mode now. How would you feel about this? Would you be interested in like practicing CTF?
For sure it's gonna be fun, CTF, because you have 3 players with you. So you need to deal with more aspects of what you are doing on the map and what your teammates are doing. But I'm also sad for 2v2 because I didn't really like it at the beginning, especially after tour experience. But now I'm really starting to like it because I think it's a wonderful game mode, team mode. And I will be sad if it's the last 2v2 event. Okay. But if there is CTF out, I don't know how to deal with it. They can't have like 4 modes in one LAN, you know? They need to split them. I will say duel is always the main thing in Quake, because I think Quake is born for duel, you know? The duel is what attracts viewers, basically, the most. Yeah. But I will say a team mode is always important, but I think they will just split duel and CTF or 2v2. And since CTF is gonna be out, I also feel DreamHack Winter is gonna be the last one.
Okay. So. If CTF is a competitive mode, who would you be playing with?
I have no clue at the moment. I am full honest with you. I'm a good friend with Sirius, Fade, since Busdriver now, so maybe we'll try to mix something, but I have no clue at all. Yeah. I don't know, honestly.
Okay. So, I'm just like basically asking you questions that people ask me on Reddit.
Yeah.
How would you dodge LG? Because a lot of people like in those lower levels basically get destroyed by LG. Like you often see people say, yeah, the lightning gun is OP, whereas it doesn't really seem to be the case at a higher level, just basically at this competitive level. So how would you, like, what are you conscious of when just like, you know, pressing right and left? What are you doing?
Well, from Quake Live it was easier to dodge. There was some different mechanics, which in Quake Champions is not possible sometimes to dodge like Quake Live. But for sure, AD, and sometimes like, I don't know how to explain, when you hit LG and your enemy is hitting LG on you, you see the little beam, you know, from LG.
Yeah.
So what you want to try is to avoid it to be on your model. So you just move with your keys in order to prevent that. I don't know how to explain, but I think the best thing to do is always taking fights, maybe sometimes, when you have a rocket in your hand, you know? And with the bounce, your enemy is never gonna hit a lot. Like, when you are stuck in LG and you feel your LG aim is worse than your enemy, I will say, if you know that, you never take LG in an open fight, you know? You just always try to prevent that to happen. And you try to maybe cover some angles, behind some walls, to just spam rockets. If your ES rushing you with LG, you try to prevent that from happen. But I will say dodging is, you need to focus on the meme of the LG of your opponent. I know it's really hard and it takes a lot of time to do it, but after you master it, the enemy is gonna hit less for sure. Because example, Sirius, you know, its LG is just phenomenal. Maybe in a guy who doesn't dodge, it does 80 LG accuracy. But maybe on me, it does 40 or 45 because I know how to deal with it. So it requires a lot of practice. That's it, there is no secret.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, honestly. Now, regarding your keybinds, what are you using also? Do you have any like special? Because I know that Toxic, for example, I think like he's got like plus like move forward or on left click, or like he's got some weird stuff. Like, what about you? Do you use like just basically classic WASD or ESGF?
I think my keybinds are the most basic ever in Quake. I'm just using, you ought to say, WASD as moving, spacebar as jumping, and now maybe someone will die inside. I don't know why, because everyone is jumping with mouse 2, but I like to jump with spacebar. I don't know why. Shooting with mouse 1 and zoom with mouse 2. That's it.
Okay. I mean it's if like, it works for you,
I think it's the most basic. Yeah, it's the most basic configuration ever in Quake, I think. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so what else we have? Okay, yeah. So you're Italian, as we've said. So I was wondering, because Italy seems to be basically quite strong regarding Quake. Like, you've got your own ESL Italy online tournaments. You've got the Luca Italian Open. We got it last year, and we also got the chance to have it this year as well. And you've got like some pretty legendary players like Sturmy, for example. It's a name that would come to mind, who's also Italian. So, what can you tell me about basically this relation between Italy and Quake?
I will say Italy is maybe one of the biggest countries in Quake in the way they support Quake. With all these community cups and what happens even on LAN, like Luca, I will say there are not so many players, like maybe different countries like Russia or something like that. But for sure, Italy is really active, and there is some sort of tradition, I will say. I don't know how to explain it, but Quake is really, I will say, important in the esports in Italy. Because of course the army, but also other players like Vicious, all these kind of guys that were playing Quake like long ago. And now it's like transferring, I wouldn't say to me, but I'm like taking Quake champions in Italy at a high level. So I will say people are also interested in like, you have this player from Italy and he's playing at high level. So let's start to play this game, because you see it on the big screen, you know. And also Italy doing this job in ESL, playing all these caps, doing all these kind of stuffs. You can see every time in Discord in Italy, every day, new players are joining. So it's really wonderful, because I don't think Quake it's big from the player base in Italy point of view, but more people are being interested from the history of the game itself. And from that, I need to be saying thanks to admins of the job they are doing, because you see every week different caps, 1v1, 2v2, 1v1, 2v2, then there is LAN, then there is this, there is Games Week in Milan, there is this kind of stuff. They do a lot of stuff like outside, online, they meet themselves online, they have to go for a drink, they play in LAN, all this kind of stuff. So it's just amazing the way the community is so together in Italy. I don't know how to explain, it's just wonderful feeling. They are so prepared in everything. They have casters for Italy, only practicing casting every day, every week. We have like in Luca, we had Akira, which is really a wonderful caster, an amazing person, and he's sponsoring so much Quake in Italy that you can believe it. How many players are joining in the last few months in Italy? It's just getting bigger and bigger.
Did you get to chance to meet those Italian Quake legends?
No, I talked to Starmy a few times, and he was helping me. I remember for QuakeCon, how to get to QuakeCon, like with visa or this kind of stuff, and he was helping me. But I never did. I know, of course, I talked to old legends like Polter, Vicious, Booms, all these guys. I know them online only. So I would like to meet them in person, to talk to them, to share experience, all this kind of stuff, but I never had the luck to do it.
Mm-hmm. So you said we've talked a bit with Sturmy. I think he competed a bit in Quake Champions, like at the beginning during the 2017 QuakeCon. I think he was playing Sacrifice and maybe Duel also, but we haven't seen him yet. So do you have any idea why?
I think it's too busy, because I don't know if you know, it's the co-founder of Faceit.
Yeah.
And Faceit is getting so big, especially in CS. So he's always traveling to do stuff, you know, admining it, doing this marketing, like this kind of stuff. Maybe it's just too busy to even play every game, like any game at all. He's always traveling, all this kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say he doesn't like Quake, but he's just too busy to play, basically, at the moment. But I hope he will come back, of course. Starmy, you know.
Would you say Sturmy is your favorite player? Because I remember, like, who was it? I think it was Inns. Yeah, Inns asking on Twitter, like, ask Vengeur who his favorite player is, and why is it Sturmy?
I wouldn't say Sturmy is my favorite, but I loved to watch him because he's Italian, of course, and he always cheer for your country, you know. But I remember playing Quake Live mostly because of Cypher, by watching his frag movies, all this kind of stuff. And I will say probably my favorite overall player is Cypher. But it's like, even Rapha, I was watching him a lot. But mainly I will say Cypher, my favorite player ever. It's so, I don't know how to explain it, but when you play against Rapha, against Cypher, sorry, you are in his world, in his own Quake. I don't know how to explain it. You're just not playing the game anymore, you're playing his mind. It's something unbelievable. Like when I beat him last time in Quake Open League, I was like, I never won him, never, ever in my life. Even in practice, sometimes I just won one map casually, you know? So winning him, it was like maybe the biggest victory for me ever in Quake at the moment.
It's funny because like what you're telling me is the same thing that Sirius told me during the interview. Like we were talking about Cypher, and he said like when you're playing against Cypher and not playing Quake, you're playing his game.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is that makes it this way? What do you think it is that makes Cypher so dominant and so in control of his matches?
I will say experience, but it's like awareness of what you are doing on the map is just perfect sometimes. You feel like he's wallacking, I will say. It's just perfect on decision making. What he's gonna do in the next 20 seconds, what you are gonna do, and you already know in some way he's gonna win the fight sometimes, even before starting it. It's some weird stuff to describe. I don't know how to say it, but it's just perfect sometimes. If he wants to, he's just going to destroy you in a few seconds. He knows perfectly what to do. So I will say for Cypher, because you didn't see him perform so well in Quake Champions, I will say his biggest enemies. His biggest enemy is himself. He's not destroying himself, of course. It's just maybe overthinking too much of the game. Because we already know Cypher is a top player, it's a legend of Quake. All he has been doing the past Quakes. So I will say it's just something you will never experience with another player. It's just Cypher. Cypher duel, I don't know. It's another game mode when you're playing against him. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, that is interesting, man.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, it's something that you only feel with Cypher, not with other players, is it?
A little bit, sometimes Rapha, because of its combat skill and position. But I don't know, with Cypher it's just different. Maybe because it's like the player I was watching like forward to, like being like as good as him when I was really young. So maybe it's actually like from a mental point of view. But I don't know, sometimes it's just perfect in the plays he does that you can't even counter him back. Like even this micro movement, micro dodging, micro like kind of stuff he's doing is just perfect sometimes, and you can't do anything about it. Just die, basically. That's it. You can't even like counter him. It's weird.
So there's another player that we haven't mentioned yet. Another player who's like dominant, who's had amazing performances in Quake, like easily top 5 on my book.
Yeah.
That I heard you were close to him. It's Kilson. So can you tell me, like, I've heard you guys are good friends, but I've never seen you two play together.
Yeah, I will say we are really good friends now. We met in QuakeCon, I remember, and from that moment, it's helping me a lot. actually in duel too, how to perform better, and he's giving me some tips, like what to do, how to deal with this, and I will say I'm actually helping him too, by playing with him a lot, because we play actually a lot of Quake together, and yeah, it's for me, it's in the top 5 too, in all Quakes, I will say. Quake Live, it was so good. Quake Champions is top 5 for sure, because in Everland is doing so good. And I don't know how to describe it. It's just this kind of guy. You just you just talk with him once, and you love him forever, because he's so funny guy, such a good person, and he's such a skilled player. You look forward to be with him, be friend with him, and also practice with him.
So something I was wondering is you guys have never taken part in cups together, have you? So do you think it would have been an interesting combo for DreamHack Winter, you and Kilson?
I would say we would have gone good for sure, but I don't know, because he was playing with Avek, and then I don't know what happened, all this kind of stuff. So I was already with Busdriver, and of course I want to stick to my teammate, because Busdriver is a top level teammate. So I don't want to switch like 2 weeks before DreamHack, because I feel me and Busdriver can do a really good performance in LAN. But for sure in the future I would like to play with him, even in CTF, I don't know, would be fun actually, because he's a really top player. But I think for me, for my specific style, I think Busdriver is the best player I could ever find.
Okay.
So I think we are a good combination of our play styles and what we do around the map. I don't want to say Kilson is not the best player, but for me personally, Busdriver is just better in what I need to do on the map and the way he supports me. I can't fully say it because I never played with Kilson, you know, so I don't know if he's better or worse than him. But for me, Busdriver is just perfect teammate. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you know who Kilson will be playing with at DreamHack Winter?
It's the Portuguese guy.
Right. Okay, that's right. Yeah. That's gonna be fun.
It's kind of funny. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
we will see Bruno how he will do with Kilson.
Bruno and is it like Marco? Like what's Kilson's name again? Like
Marcel.
Marcel, yeah.
Marcel.
Bruno and Marcel. That sounds like an 80s sitcom.
Man.
So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah.
All right. So talking about Zoot, because I remember seeing you with Zoot at DreamHack Tours, and you guys seem like really close. Like he's basically like your dad, isn't he? Like how did you guys meet, and like how are you guys so close?
We were playing together back in Quake Live days.
Wow.
Even duels. We were playing a lot, I remember. And when I stopped, I lost all the contacts with him. Because when I stopped for school, because I remember I was doing really bad at school when I was playing Quake Live because I was playing too much. So I was just taking a break from it and finishing my school, all my studies. And when I was back to Quake Champions and he saw my name, I was like, wow, no way, it's you again, you know? After we played for a longer time, it's back, yeah. And we just started to talk again. And he's probably the guy I talk the most online, like all day. He's just such a good guy, even for what he does for Quake, for all the streams he does, all the kind of work he's doing to help Quake grow up. And he's such a wonderful person, even in real life. He's always helping you out if you have some troubles. And he's just a good friend, I would say, a really good friend for me.
Now, I think that's going to be my last question. So regarding your organization, so Comrade Gaming, I think you guys have been you've been together for quite a while now, and I feel like they seem like really nice guys. Like on Twitter, always supporting you. Like even when you lose a match, they're like, yeah, like good job, Vengeur. Like they seem, I don't know, like so supportive, so motivating, and yeah, they seem like great guys. Like can you like tell me a bit about this? Like how did you get in contact with Comrade Gaming?
Okay, I remember it was like 1 year ago when I joined Comrade 1 year ago, and before that I was playing some small ESL cups, you know, these ESL community cups in duel, and I remember winning Proximo when I was like playing the game from only 10 days or something like that. I already won a cup in ESL, so it was really big for me already because I never played the game, you know, and there are players playing from April, so it's like a lot of difference in how many experience you have already in the game. And I remember them contacting me and like we are looking to expand your Quake champion roster, all this kind of stuff. And after talking to the manager, I already was realizing, wow, this guy is such a good guy, and I already know he wanna do good. He wanna do a lot of job with me together, you know. And after this moment, especially Comrade, it's like the best thing happened to me in Quake, because without them, I wouldn't be anywhere close to go to any LAN. Because you know, I'm not rich enough to pay for my own expenses because I study, and my family is not like, I will say it's middle class, you know, it's normal middle class family. And for them, paying all my expenses, all my travel, especially to QuakeCon, the ticket, of course, was really expensive. It's like they helped me the most in all I do. Even when there were some times I was giving up after losing against finals, after losing this match, I was like, okay, stop. I don't want to play anymore. I'm pissed off. I don't want to play. I go away. They were, no, you are good. You will fucking win one day. You know it. You already know you're a fucking top level player. And they always are here for me, always. Like, if I say always, if I write to my manager now, he's here responding to me. He goes, what's up, Mark? All good? How can I help you? All this kind of stuff. So for me, finding them is the best thing happened to me in Quake. They are just the best.
It's awesome. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
All right, so before we close this interview, do you have any like special thanks, any final words you'd like to say?
Just thanks, of course, to Bethesda for producing Quake, of course, and all the managers from Tokyo to 04 for what they do for the game, always being at the LAN, always being present, you know. It's really important for players to see that admins and community manager always here for anything you need. And of course, thanks to Comrade for all the help. Thanks to all my mates, to Cloud, Thron, Cypher for all the help. To Zoot, of course, the way he's helping me, to In Serious, all my friends, they know already. And thanks to you for the interview, of course, for all the help you are giving to the community by doing these interviews, because I think it's really good to know the players from the inside the point of view, not only by Nick's name and what he does on the map with the rail, the LG, all this. I think it's good to know, like the inside point of view of the player, of what he feels going to a LAN, what he feels of the pressure, the way he approaches the game. I think it's really important to do this kind of stuff. I think that's it. I don't have to. Of course, thanks to the Italian community for the support. They are always here for me. When I lose, yeah, you're gonna wreck team next event. Don't worry, man. You're gonna do fine next event. You're gonna do better. It's really important for your mind that people are supporting you, you know, and you are like, okay, I need to do good for me, because of course I want to win, but there are always people that want you to do good also, so you perform even better if you know there is like some people supporting you. Because I remember in Luca, every kill I heard so much noise in the crowd. For every kill I was doing, I was cheering myself up, you know. Especially against the map, against Rapha, I was seeing guys jumping around the venue like crazy. I don't know what was going on. Like, I was like shocked sometimes for the support. Yeah. So thanks to thanks to all these guys, really a lot. I really appreciate it so much.
Oh, well, awesome, man. Well, it was a pleasure doing this interview. So thanks a lot for giving me your time, and yeah, I hope you're gonna do great at DreamHack Winter.
Thank you a lot, and peace to everyone. I'm 19. Goodbye to everyone. See you next time.